We're back again with Rob Cramer, designer of Turbodrift.
Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is...
Blench. To draw back or turn aside from lack of courage. Flinch. And here's an example that I need to read out loud. Really just the first sentence. I blenched. I can't even read it. I blenched when my son first introduced me to the initials IRL, meaning in real life, as opposed to the online world where he and his generation spend so much of their time. Allison Pierce.
Wow.
Yeah. I blenched. So we've
That
got
is...
Rob Cramer here again to blench us away. So go for it.
I was not thinking about the online world at all when it talks about blench at all, because I mean it mentions courage, which is like this very noble saying that kind of fits. I mean, you don't really say courage online as much, but I was thinking about specifically push your luck, and it's a popular mechanism, that's for sure, and it's talking about drawing back from lack of courage. And so the theme that specifically came up to me was staring contest, but I couldn't figure out anything interesting that goes with that about, don't blink or anything like that. But I was specifically thinking about piling on bad things. So like lots of bad things happen in push your luck games. Well, not necessarily. I'll rethink that, because good things happen in push your luck games until they don't.
Yeah.
So in Can't Stop, you're making forward progress. You keep on moving until you don't make that match.
Yep.
In Costa Rica, you're moving along the jungle until you hit a second mosquito, and then bad things happen. But I wanted to specifically to have bad things happen, and then you have that choice to turn away.
Okay, that's cool.
But I was thinking about specifically programmed courage. Like so the amount of courage that you have at the beginning of a round, you decide how much to spend, and that could translate to the number of cards that you draw. So let's say I want to draw 6 cards. Instead of drawing each card and evaluating after each one, I would draw 6 cards and then evaluate. Because a lot of the times when I play push your luck games, especially in Can't Stop, people want to roll the dice again even after they've stopped, even after they've kind of pushed away and said, I'm not going to go anymore.
Yeah.
They want to roll again to see if something good or bad would have happened.
Yeah, and like that has any effect or
right.
That reminds me
exactly.
sort of like the when you're at a casino, and it's not exactly the same, but I've had this where, it's roulette and it's hit red 13 times in a row, and they're like, well, I'm going to play black because it hit red 13 times in a row. Although it doesn't matter what it hit last time. It's an all new spin and everything.
Yeah, exactly. When you draw cards out of order in a game accidentally, someone said, "Oh, well, you took my card," when in reality that's not how any of that works.
Exactly.
And so I wanted to I kind of had a connection of like looking into the future, so you can see what happens to you when you draw all of the cards that you said that you were going to draw. But any of the cards that kind of trigger after the bad things happen can go to other people as a benefit to them.
Gotcha.
So they benefit from the bad decision that you made rather than just specifically you failing from the bad decision that you made.
Yeah, that's neat. That's really clever.
So I wasn't sure exactly how to do that. If it's numbers on cards and you're trying to hit a specific number, and then any numbers after that are just banked to other people as they go. But I wanted to kind of twist push your luck a little bit, because like there is a curiosity about what would happen.
Yeah, and push your luck is, I mean, yesterday on the last episode, we talked about music being kind of new territory and unexplored territory, and push your luck is sort of like that too. There's only a handful of real push your luck games out there. You know,
Hmm.
Can't Stop is like the definitive one. But
Right.
I was talking to some designers recently, and I think I mentioned this on an earlier episode, and they were talking about how they didn't like push your luck because what else are you going to do? Is really like
Right.
that's kind of the, you know, the downside, and the
Yeah.
struggle in designing a push your luck game is like, if you give another option, the balance between the pushing your luck and the other option is just it's a hard thing to manage.
Right. Yeah. And so making that first decision kind of a larger decision rather than a bunch of little decisions along the way, whether I continue or I stop, kind of translates push your luck in a different way.
And
I
that's
don't know.
good, yeah.
And so, I mean, that's what I had for that specific game idea. The other notes that I had didn't really didn't really make sense. I talked to my wife about specifically what Blench meant to her.
Had she ever
And
heard
she
of it
talked
before?
no, and I told her it's about flinching, and it doesn't make any sense. So she talked about hidden doors, and there's a monster behind one, and then she talked about Scooby Doo or something something like that. And I mean, it's interesting because I mean, you can talk about going back to courage. You can talk about how courage isn't the lack of fear, but the overcoming it.
Yeah,
I don't know who specifically said that, but
you did.
it could, yeah, it's attributed to me. Make sure you spread the word. And so you could have a push your luck game where you need a specific number of bad things to happen to you in order to become courageous, because you can't just have good things happen to you and then stop.
Yeah.
You need to have bad things happen to you and then keep going. So I don't know how that would translate to anything viable, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a different way to look at something that I really, really like. Push your luck.
So let's translate this to something else you really like, Star Wars.
Oh man.
Where does this fit into what's the blenchiest of Star Wars
Ugh.
characters,
Well, I mean,
moments?
you're talking about Han Solo going into the asteroid belt,
Yep.
and no one following him, and he's just not. He doesn't want to be told the odds, and so I mean that's exactly it. You go into a situation where you give a number that you need to draw or achieve, and then you try and hit it, and if you don't, you get eaten by a worm, a rocket powered worm. So I mean, yeah, I really, really wish that there were more Star Wars games out there that weren't just giant money sinks. There need to be more standalone adventures that happen in the Star Wars universe, because that is just, if they can keep on cranking out this many movies and movie series and TV series, they can afford to not make a game that has a bunch of miniatures that you need to buy expansion packs for.
Yeah, we need like the indie version of a Star Wars game, or
Oh man,
I mean,
I would be all over that.
I have Rebellion, which is just one massive purchase and not many smaller purchases.
Good point. You're right. They solved it all.
But yeah, more Star Wars games. I don't even have Star Wars Carcassonne. Did you wind up getting that?
No, I mean they made some of copies available in the United States, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I get that, but yeah, it needs to be a standalone adventure, not a reskin.
and you know what I would really like is just like a smaller scale, because everything is just the entire galaxy is at war, and Destiny kind of does it, you know, a little bit, but that's just a huge money sink. I'm probably $750 into Destiny, and I've played it 10 times. But no, I'd love to see like small scale, you know, like I don't even know. I'm trying to think of a good small scale, you know, navigating the cantina, you know, and making it alive, or just like small scale adventures. You know, a speeder
not
race.
every second of every movie is full of these giant explosions. Sometimes you have a side adventure in the Canto Bight Casino, and and you can just have little side adventures. There's no need for
Exactly.
these giant epic stories.
So the only equivalent is my game Twin Stars. So that's like, I mean, that was me making that game where it was like,
Yeah.
we've got this little escape the break, we've got this little, stop the virus, and it's basically everything. One of them is master of the trials, and it starts out as like Luke and Yoda, and it turns into whatever my characters are. But all of them start out as everything starts out from Star Wars for me. It's tough.
I mean, that's a smart way to go. I mean,
Yeah.
the Turbo Drift retheme as pod racing is incredible. And it makes so much sense.
It's great. I kind of wish that I could have published that version.
Yeah, why don't you have that poll, Jason?
I don't know.
Get on it.
I'll do my best. Well, thank you again. This is great having you. Good talking to you. We've never
course.
actually spoken before, so this is cool, right? Have
Yeah,
we ever
this is
spoken?
awesome.
No.
I think we have. We had like a meeting sometime a few years ago.
Yeah. So this is the second time we've talked.
Yeah.
Tell everyone
Always
where
a
they
pleasure.
where they can find you so they can talk to you.
I'm on Twitter most of the time. Rob the Cramer, Cramer, and you can also find me on the surprisingly robust board game group on Google Plus.
Really? I don't even know about that.
We are almost 40,000 members strong, and we have some good discussions. Lots of pictures shared. It's pretty great. So join us on Google Plus.
Very cool. I thought you were going to say there were 40 members, but then you kept going.
No, it's big.
That's amazing. I'm going to check that out too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, and we'll find you on there.
Thanks for having me.
See ya.